Let's look into Dakota. Though Dak's rushing yards seem to be holding, both his passing yards and passing touchdowns have taken a dip. Though I would like to note his turnovers have been surprisingly good. 8+ in turnovers thus far, young man. Good job, Dakota, but you have a long way to go to be fantasy viable. You are still under the D class, sir. You need to move up.
Quiet down, class. Quiet down. I said quiet. Thank you. I am your professor, Michael Einstein. Whereas my brother taught you E=mc², I will be teaching you about football and fantasy football. My team and I have devised an easier way for all of you to understand whether or not the player is good or bad in fantasy football. And that is what we will be showing you today. Just like in grade school, I have graded every player from an F up to an A+. And I will also break down analysis of why they received said grades. Let us begin. All of the following players received and deserved an F. I am so disappointed in them that I have to switch out my black pointer with my red one. Let us begin. Players that deserved an F grade. Starting at the bottom, Tyrod Taylor, Gardner Minshew, Ryan Tannehill, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Derek Carr, Kenny Pickett, Joseph Burrow, Daniel Jones, and Bryce Young. All of these players are not created equal because they were not drafted in the same spot as everyone else. In a one quarterback league, only 2 of these rapscallions were drafted in your league. That would be Daniel Jones in the 12th round and Joseph Burrow. Some people call him Cool Joe. Well, Joe, people drafted you in the 3rd round, whippersnapper, and they thought that you would lead them to fantasy glory. And 6 weeks in, F. Let me show you why he deserves this F. Now, coming into this year, we did know that he was injured, but it was made to seem as though he would be fine by now. He is trending in the right direction, but let's show why he deserves this F 6 weeks into the season. Look at this glorious grading system. Scrolling down. Here we have the 4 years that Joseph Burrow has been playing football. Compared to the rest of his career, he is clearly on the down. Look at fantasy points alone. B-, A. He was clearly trending up the last 3 years, and then this year came and he has an F. His yards are down dramatically, as are his touchdowns, both passing, rushing, and deep. Though his turnovers are the best of his career. He is clearly not going downfield. He is an F across the board in deep attempts. And of course your grade will be down when you are not actually throwing it down the field. Luckily, I believe he is trending in the right direction. Let me show you what I mean. So when you look from a year standpoint, yes, his numbers are awful, god awful. But if you were to focus on it by a week-to-week basis, you would see, yes, the first 4 weeks, he was awful. But in week 5, he exploded with fantasy production. He has gone back down since he played in week 6 against the Seattle Seahawks. Now the question is, in week 5, did he play well because he was going against the lowly Arizona Cardinals? Or is he trending in the right direction and the Seattle Seahawks are just a better team than expected? Only time will tell, but I believe he shall get better, especially now that the team is on a week 7 bye. Get healthy, Joseph Burrow. Fantasy teams need you. Moving on to D-, Geno Smith and Jimmy Garoppolo, or as I like to refer to him, Jimmy GQ. Both of these players were either not drafted or drafted extremely late. I am not going to be extra hard on them. We will move forward. Though from a personal standpoint, I am very disappointed in Geno Smith. I believe he will be better moving forward. Moving on to D players. At the bottom, we have Dak Prescott, also known as Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, and Matthew Stafford. Again, only one of these players were most likely drafted in your league. Dak or Dakota Prescott. Let's look into Dakota. Though Dak's rushing yards seem to be holding, both his passing yards and passing touchdowns have taken a dip. Though I would like to note his turnovers have been surprisingly good. 8+ in turnovers thus far, young man. Good job, Dakota, but you have a long way to go to be fantasy viable. You are still under the D class, sir. You need to move up. And to illustrate the note of why you are so difficult on Dakota Prescott, with great power comes great responsibility, Mr. Prescott. When you put that star on your head, you become instantly more famous.
And with said fame comes criticism. When you do not perform when you're on the Dallas Cowboys, it is amplified. Just like anything that you do positively gets amplified. And all of us have to hear about how those Dallas Cowboys, or it's like some of you like to say, them boys, are gonna win it this year. That is the cost of the Cowboys, Dakota. Micah, remember that. Next time you're doing a commercial, the fact that you are amazing does help you get commercials. But that star on your head, that is why after your career, no matter you win Super Bowls or not, you will be in the box like a Tony Romo, you dig? Moving on to D+ players. Desmond Ridder and Joshua Dobbs. Neither one of these players were drafted, so we will move on. There you are, Trevor Lawrence. Some were referring to you as the prince that was promised. Through 6 weeks, Trevor, it has been disappointing. I had high hopes for you, my boy. You were drafted in the 5th round, and you perform below average? The players we could have taken. Trevor is worth looking into. Where did he go wrong? Passing yards average as usual. Deep passing yards higher than usual. Rushing yards A-. So where are we going wrong? It is the touchdowns bringing you down, my boy. D in passing touchdowns, F in rushing touchdown, and turnovers. The turnovers. If you are not going to pass for the touchdowns, Trevor, you must not turn the ball over. Tisk, tisk. I believe that you can come back to relevance, my boy. You just have to work at it. Maybe some of this has to do with Travis Etienne playing so well. We'll get to you in the running back section, sir. No player fits my metric to fall in the C category, so we move to C+. These players are performing above average. Giving them a C would have been erroneous on all accounts. Starting at the right, Sam Howell, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. Anthony, I am so sad when I heard about your injury. Come back next year stronger, my boy. I look forward to discussing you. It was incredible watching you on the field. See you next year. Stroud, I've been very impressed with you thus far. Keep up the great work. Moving on to B+. Note that I have switched from the red to the black. These players are doing not too bad. Let's discuss. Only one player fits the B- category, and that is Brock Purdy. Was not drafted almost anywhere, but he has been outperforming expectations. Good job, Brock. Moving up to B players. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, and Jordan Love. Deshaun Watson may have only played 3 games, but these statistics go on a per game basis. Deshaun Watson has been averaging over 18 points a game. That will suffice to be in the B category. Jordan Love has overperformed expectations, and Russell Wilson has not been trash. And Jordan Love has played better than I expected. Moving on to B+ players. Justin Fields and Jared Goff. Justin Fields was drafted in the 4th round, whereas Jared Goff is outperforming expectations, being drafted in the 13th round. I'd call that a steal. Now it is time to discuss some of the best players this league has to offer, beginning at A- player. Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Tua Tagovailoa. All of these players have earned their A-. Kirk Cousins and Tua Tagovailoa are higher than expected because both were drafted in the 8th round or later, whereas Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes were projected to be slightly higher than they currently are. Let's look at why Patrick Mahomes is an A- and not at the cream of the crop where we expected. Previous years, Patrick Mahomes has not been below an A. It looks like the passing yards are down, rushing yards are up slightly. But as a total for yards, he is lower than usual. I think this one is hurting him more. Let me expand the years so you can see his career a little bit better. There you go. A B in passing touchdown. That looks to be the main culprit. He also is not getting involved with the rushing touchdowns. I'm curious if that is because Isaiah Pacheco has become more involved in the offense. Possibly. He does remain low with his turnover. That is good. A minus. Though it seems as though he is not passing as deep as he used to. His accuracy downfield. Looks like it needs some work. He does only have 11 touchdowns. That is less than 2 a game. Patrick, I look for that number to increase. Tua Tagovailoa has been very impressive. Keep up the good work, young man. Moving on to the A students. It looks as though one man stands alone. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is being driven by his touchdowns. A+ in rushing touchdowns thus far, and his total touchdowns are at an A. Minimal turnovers. His passing yards up here are quite meh, but he did lead to an A in fantasy performances. He has also played 1 less game due to his bye week, so his percentages could be slightly higher. And at the very top, the cream of the crop, the 2 that stand above everyone else in the A+ position, as they were drafted in the 2nd round, mostly behind Patrick Mahomes. These 2, Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, call him Joshua. These 2 players stand above everyone else. Congratulations, you 2, for being the only 2 to deserve this A+ you received. Keep up the great work. Hopefully you stay atop the grades. All of the analysis here has been taken from week 1 through week 6. My quarterback grade summary. Weeks 1 through 6 goes as follows. Starting with my F grade at the bottom. Tyrod Taylor, Gardner Minshew, Ryan Tannehill, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Derek Carr, Kenny Pickett, Joseph Burrow, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young. Moving up to D-. Jimmy Garoppolo, also known as Jimmy GQ, Geno Smith. D players. Dakota Prescott, Baker Mayfield. Moving up to C-. Desmond Ridder, Joshua Dobbs. D players. C- player, Trevor Lawrence. No one qualified for the C position. Moving to C+, Sam Howell, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Brock Purdy. B, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, and Jordan Love. B+, Justin Fields, Jared Goff. A-, Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Tua Tagovailoa. A players, Justin Herbert, and the cream of the crop, A+ players, Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. Let me know if you want to see where they stand next week. I'll see you next week with more quarterback analysis. Click here if you'd like a wide receiver, as well as other fantasy information that will help you better understand football. Professor Einstein bids you good day.